welcoming Alanis Morissette to MuchMusic. How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well. Wow, it's
Good.
quite overwhelming, eh? All the
Very
people
sweet.
that showed up today. It's great. Second album, supposed former infatuation junkie. Now, going through all the stuff, all the records that we have, all your videos, everything in the MuchMusic library, it's just overwhelming. How much work you've done, the body of work you have done since you were a child. You've basically grown up under the spotlight and always been driven to make music and write. What was it that made you want to perform at such an early age?
When I was younger, I just loved dancing and singing and writing and any form of expression. When I was very young, I was very curious about what doing it in the public eye would be like, what fame was like, and it was touted as promising all these really amazing things. And over the last few years, I've been wonderfully disillusioned by it and heartened by it, and just always wanting to express, really.
Do you remember what your very first performance was, be it in the basement or, you know, a show in your backyard or whatever?
First time on stage was doing dance recitals, tap dancing.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah, it's that whole thing. First shows I used to do, I remember being paid $25 an hour. Not an hour, actually, $25 a night to sing and just doing talent contests and stuff.
So then you had that idea that this is what you wanted, and you were saying you had become disillusioned by the whole thing. I guess you had to go and experience it for yourself, hey?
I think that's the way it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It almost seems like that's been your that's been a recurring theme within your life, is like going for something that you want and then almost having to debunk it.
Yeah. Yeah, and in debunking it, realizing that I just grew up in a world, and what was inundated in my life to me was that I had to be something by doing something, as opposed to, I mean, so many times we're just told that in order to have this, when we have this achievement, that we can thereby be something, as opposed to just being it and it manifesting in some sort of artistic expression, which is kind of the opposite of the way that it was taught. So once I realized that, it was much easier.
Well, it's on the album, too. There really seems to be a focus in trying to find some kind of truth or harmony, goodness, a lot of gratitude on the album. Were you always possessed by that inner calm or will to do the right thing?
No, I wasn't always calm. I've often been known to be very kinetic, still to this day, actually, but just realizing that power doesn't simply lie in our intellect and in our thoughts, that we are mind, body, and spirit, and integrating all of it is important. And oftentimes, what I write about is very emotional, but I siphon it through my intellect, and I'm realizing that I can just stay in the emotion sometimes and the feeling and allow that to speak.
How did you get to all those points, like having to come to that conclusion that you have to incorporate so many things? Was it like one epiphany, or was it like a whole bunch of experiences that made you go,
It was many revelatory moments, basically, over the years, reading a lot, talking a lot, crying a lot, cracking up a lot.
We're going to be playing your video, Thank You. You perform this in the nude, and we've seen you go through so many physical stages, especially in Canada, from teen dance queen to the point where you were not wearing any makeup and just a big baggy T-shirt and not really giving a hoot about, you know, making yourself look totally like a fabulous babe. What do you see? Yeah, fabulous babe. But even though you are a fabulous babe, totally. What is your body image? What do you see as yourself? Do you have a body image?
I do nowadays. It's much healthier. For so long, I believed that that my body was an object, you know, to be decorated. And over the last few years, I've just returned to it being an instrument, you know, and not objectifying it. And the pendulum swung from my having objectified myself and given into society standards, and then the pendulum swung to my ignoring all of it and throwing everything out. And now it's swung somewhere in the middle, and my choices are exactly that. They're choices I make, as opposed to subconsciously following some standard that has been set by someone other than me.
Yeah, it's almost like I can understand how people might think that there's power in make themselves look like, or attracting through sexuality. But I guess you had to shift your power base.
Yeah, the power isn't from being sexy. The power is just from being, from existing and being alive, being a spiritual person.
We're inundated by a lot of pop cultural images of female these days. It seems like One of the biggest ones is Britney Spears, Foxy Brown, this really sort of overt, sexual-looking person. What do you think about that sort of trend?
I think it's a choice. You know, I think it's a choice, and every choice we make has either enjoyable consequences or ones that aren't very pleasurable. So I myself choose not to go down that route because there's, I spent a few years going down that route myself.
I was just thinking it's sort of a familiar, that whole Britney Spears is almost familiar to you. Like going through some of the pictures, it was like, holy smokes, you're 9 and you look like a woman here.
Yeah, I look 40. Yeah, I understand a little bit more now, and it's just a different choice that I'm making, and it's resulting in my feeling much more peaceful.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we have an email, and it reads as follows. It's from Robin Eureka. She says, you seem to be very comfortable with your sexuality, but that wasn't always the case. What changed this for you?
A little bit of what we just talked about my not feeling that my power simply lay in how sexually attractive I was or how much sexual energy I was having between whoever I was talking to. And that my power just lay in my existing and not abusing that sexual attraction and not having that be the focus, because oftentimes having sex with someone was a distraction from perhaps the lack of connection in other areas, and it was convenient for us to go to that every time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, and we also have an audience question. Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
Since you started off as a dance artist and now you've changed, what do you think about dance music today?
I don't listen to a lot of it, but I love dancing, and I'm still dancing as we speak, and I'm about to direct a video where there'll be a lot of dancing.
Yay!
In it. So, yeah.
I was wondering if you'd ever return back to some of the dance stuff.
Yeah, I missed it greatly, and over the last couple of years, I've been dancing a lot.
Cool.
Yeah.
You also have, you're very, you're a jock. You run triathlons, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Why is physical, way to go, that's an amazing feed into a jock. 3 triathlons, a whole lot of forms in there. Why is physical fitness important to you?
I just realized that it's the vehicle. This carries my spirit everywhere, and it's limited in this realm anyway. So I just want to take care of it and to use it as an instrument again, like we talked about earlier.
Cool. Okay, we're going to take a look at Thank You and then be back with Alanis Morissette after this.
Thank you!